Sometimes cricket careers unfold like grand operas, 5 act dramas full of centuries, heartbreaks, and comebacks. But then there are ones that are over even before they just begin. Today's story is one of those. Welcome to Chronicles of Cricket, and this one is going to be a little emotional one.
The person we are talking about today, despite all this, what a life this man lived outside of that one moment. Uh, he was a war veteran, a medical doctor, a football icon, and then one fine summer's day, he played cricket for Australia.
His wife was in the stands. The Melbourne cricket ground was buzzing. A dream decades in the making was finally coming true. And in the middle of it all, something so small, so ordinary changed everything.
So let's go back to the late 19th century Victoria. Roy Lindsay Park, born to a Methodist minister in 1892, grows up juggling cricket, books, and even footy boots. He goes to Wesley College, a place that has traditionally produced a lot of legends. And one of his classmates is Robert Menzies, who would go on to become the Prime Minister of Australia.
Yeah, and Menzies actually wrote later that he would actually sit behind the nets reading Shakespeare while watching Park bat. Now that's some praise. This guy has some serious talent.
You knew he was gifted with the bat when the Prime Minister wrote about you in a book. So, yeah, obviously he was really, really talented. And even in football, he once kicked 53 goals in a single VFL season, the second best in the league. And even opposition crowds would literally carry him off the field on their shoulders. So imagine that, like shoulder rides in 1913. It's almost like Real Madrid fans giving a standing ovation to Ronaldinho when he was playing for Barcelona. It was a really iconic moment.
I know, and at the prime of his batting form, he was chosen as a part of the Warwick Armstrong's 1914-15 Australian team for a tour of South Africa. But then the World War began and his test debut had to be halted.
Park, he had also taken up medical studies at Melbourne University, and hence then went on to serve with distinction during the First World War. So he was the captain of the Australian Army Medical Corps, part of the 5th Field Ambulance, and even got mentioned in dispatches.
It's actually quite unfortunate that we don't really see the impact that wars had on sporting careers. And the pause and how much time you kind of lose. I'm sure he must have been 20, 21 or 25, but by the time his test debut came around, it must have been 29, 30, I don't know. But if that was the case, then you lost so much time, and you feel and as an athlete you understand how much those 5 years actually mean. It's not an easy thing to kind of navigate through, and it must have been hard for him. But yeah, after the war, he picked up the sport again, football with Footscray, cricket with South Melbourne.
He even once shared a 315-run opening partnership with Bill Woodfull, who would go on to captain Australia in later years. So he was really a really special talent.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't long before the selectors came calling once again, this time the Ashes in 1920 and 21. Australia versus England, Melbourne cricket ground, Park gets his baggy cream, finally.
Yes, finally. And it is a coming of age moment after so much struggle. So it was December 21st, 1920, hot summer day. Roy Park finally is going to bat for Australia, a moment that had taken years of discipline, grit and heartbreak.
But the night before, as it often happens with, a debut game, he was called, perhaps back in that time, something or the other kind of doesn't let you sleep. It could be nerves, it could be life, it could be circumstances, but the night before he was called for a late during the night for medical duties, and he didn't get any sleep before his debut.
This is a long time ago, right? So even the cricketers even national team cricketers would have to probably have alternate careers on the side to continue their playing days. So yeah, he had to step up for his duty, and not the best way to turn up for your debut, understandably. But his family was there to support him. His wife was in the stands.
Yeah, and she'd brought along some knitting with her. Maybe just to calm the nerves or just to pass time until her husband took strike and got to face his first ball in international cricket.
Yeah, and eventually that moment finally arrived. Park was called into bat. His wife clutched her yarn. The crowd leaned forward. A really exciting moment. And as the bowler ran in, her hands slipped.
She dropped a stitch, just one. And as she bent down to pick it up, Roy Park faced his first ball in Test cricket.
Yes, and by the time she looked up, it was over. her husband's career was done.
Roy Park, with all that promise, all that pedigree, all that pride, was dismissed first ball, a golden duck. He never got another chance, never played Test cricket again.
One ball, and that was his entire international career. That's how ruthless sometimes top level cricket can be.
And his wife, she missed all of it because of that one dropped stitch. It sounds made up, but it's true. A stitch dropped, a Test career missed.
Right. And that's what makes this story so haunting, right? Roy Park
Goosebumps.
was a man who gave up so much for the sport, gave so much to his country, and cricket just didn't give anything back to him.
But there's a silver lining. His first class numbers were phenomenal. Over 2,500 runs, 9 centuries, an average just under 40. That one ball Test, that's what the record books remember.
Yet probably the legacy did not end there. He became a respected selector in the coming year, in the following years for the Australian team. And decades later, his daughter would marry Ian Johnson, who would captain Australia in the 1950s and was part of Bradman's Invincibles.
And that's so beautiful, right? As in, you might think that you haven't received your due, but life has a way of giving it back to you when you truly deserve it. May not be directly to you, but it can happen through people you love. It can happen to you by the virtue of somebody else receiving something. And that feels equally as good as you receiving it fully. And that is the beauty, I think, of life, that sometimes we might wonder that, oh man, this is so unfair that I've gone through this. But if you keep the right attitude through all of that, life has a way of gifting something back to you that feels as good, if not better. And for me, that's what I'm taking away from Roy Park's story. The fact that it's a missed chance, a missed career, one ball, but so much more to give, so much more to receive in the whole perception of life, in the whole perspective of life. That is truly amazing.
And that you just heard on Chronicles of Cricket.
See you guys next time for another forgotten cricket moment that shaped cricket.